Hey there, Craig Todd here. Welcome to the Apostles Digest. Colette and I are here to give you language to your prophetic and apostolic process. Upgrade your subscription at apostlesdigest.com and receive a fresh Book the Press book, plus an exclusive resources crafted for your prophetic and apostolic mandate.
Welcome to Apostles Digest once again. For all of you apostles out there trying to figure it out, trying to take hold of the territory God's given you. Today, we have language for your process. I have in the studio with me Apostle T.G Gardner. And even before we started recording, oh my goodness, it was one of those where everything that could go wrong with our media did go wrong with our media. And I said, Apostle, this is just so typical because our entire podcast is going to be about the Up and Out conference that you have. But not just that, I want to talk about the opposition you faced and what's required of us to keep pushing through and why did we have to live it before we even started recording, man of God? What is up with that?
Well, that's just the nature of the call. When you are pioneering something, when God has put you in a particular region, you can expect some level of warfare. It is a part of the training. It is training. You think about when people get into the army, they go through boot camp. They're going through real experiences that will prepare them for what may come. And so if you're starting out, God has told you to do something, you can expect warfare, but it is also to build you, not to break you.
I like that you said boot camp. Because that's what it's about, isn't it? If you can't even handle the small pushbacks before your platform's established, before your ministry is starting to move, if you can't even handle those little offenses and those pushbacks then and the inconveniences, then how are you going to handle it when you are standing on that battlefield having to face the hordes of hell coming against you? And especially you, sir, yours is a deliverance ministry. And I remember last year at the Up and Out conference, oh my goodness, did God show up?
He did.
Oh my goodness.
He did.
It was so powerful. We saw people delivered. But you know what I loved about it? Well, about what you did, it wasn't just that demons got cast out. When I say people were delivered, I mean by so much more than demons.
Yeah.
They were delivered from their bitterness. They were delivered from trauma. They were set free. And that's what I love about the work that you're doing. And I so look forward to the end of March again to blazing that trail with you. But I want to go back a bit because I remember last year how challenged you were. In fact, you had received so much pushback, like more than ever, that you were even starting to doubt yourself. You were saying to me, look, I don't even know if I'm meant to have this event.
Yeah.
And you start saying, God, that I miss you. Are we maybe misaligned? I'd love for you to talk into that insecurity because it's an insecurity every single one of us face when we get that kind of pushback.
Yes. I can go back to the Garden of Eden. When God tells you to do something that has never been done and you're pioneering a work, there's a particular place in the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, where Satan, he's called the accuser, that's his name, the accuser. The accuser of the brethren will say, like he told Eve, did God really say that? And so if you and I take the bait, we'll step into rebellion against the very thing that God has called for us to do. All the Spirit needs is our willingness and our cooperation to partner with Him. And so those insecurities will start popping up. You'll start doubting. Again, did God really say that? Well, maybe God is not with me because there's some opposition. And let me tell you, if it's easy, it's probably not God.
Come on.
Because I'm telling you from experience, we've been doing the Up and Out Deliverance Conference. We started in 2017. And as we started growing this particular conference, the warfare has gotten greater. When we started, we only had one speaker. Then we moved to two speakers, and now we've added 3 and 4 speakers. And so every year, the warfare has been great, particularly last year, 2025. I remember talking to you, Apostle Colette, on the phone, and you gave me a word of knowledge. You began to prophesy because I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, particularly in this region that I'm in Dallas, because Dallas can be very territorial, and there's a strong principality of religion here in this city. And so I was like, I don't want to do it. Nobody wants to come. All of the things. And so you gave me a word of knowledge, prophesied, and then my apostle uh, said, "No, God has a sign for you to do this, and you've got to do it." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do it." He said, "Well, bring it to Chicago." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, you've challenged me." And so
Mhm.
God worked it out that we moved from Dallas to Chicago last year. We're bringing it back to Dallas this year. But even in that, even though God opened up the door in Chicago for the Up and Out Deliverance Conference, do you not know? I don't know if I told you this, Apostle Colette. The day that I was supposed to speak, which was the first day, I
Mhm.
was attacked in my body at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Remember.
I was throwing up everything. I could not keep food. I was throwing up from 4 to 9. And I knew that it was spiritual because this has not happened before at this length of time. And so I was like, what is going on? So I'm like, I had to call the intercessors. I need you to pray. I had to drink some teas and all this other kind of stuff because I didn't know what was going on, but I knew it was spiritual. And so you have to understand that Satan, when you go into particular territories, there
Mm.
are territorial spirits that are assigned to different cities and
Mhm.
regions. And so there's this thing that I'm learning about called spiritual mapping. And so you must be able to pinpoint and pray into these particular regions because there are principalities over these particular regions and
Mhm.
demons that are housed over these regions, and that we must pray and ask for angelic enforcement and ask for God to intervene in these particular regions that God has assigned us to be in. And so
Mm.
don't think that because of warfare, it's all the devil. It is the devil, but it is God training you at the same time. He's
Yes.
building your spiritual muscles. And so I'm urging you to keep going. The
Yes.
pushback is a sign that you're supposed to be there.
Come on. Oh, I don't know how it is for you, but from my personal experience, when I've had to push hard like that, specifically for a new territory, or we were pioneering even with a new mandate or concept, when I push through, the level of victory afterwards,
Mhm.
financially, physically, relationally, is incredible. You
Yeah.
see, we look at the warfare and we look at the push it took us to get there. But what you don't realize, you guys, is that as you're fighting in that boot camp, you're gaining spiritual muscle. You're
Yes.
getting stronger, you're getting savvy, and your faith is being tested.
Yes.
So the trial of faith, our faith being that much more precious than gold, is tried in the fire. That
Yes.
warfare is fire that is trying your faith. And
Yes.
with every warfare that I've had to push through like that, and I gotta say this, guys, there's no right way to do it.
No.
There's sometimes when you're facing that level of warfare that you're on your face before God, speaking in tongues, because that's just literally all you have to do. Because you've prayed every prayer, you fasted, you bound every demon and every other one that you can think of, and you still don't know where this attack is coming from. So you
Right.
get on your face and you push through with every spiritual tool that you can grab your hands on. And what you don't realize is that as you're doing that, your faith is being strengthened for the battles that are yet to come.
Yes.
And I found that when I have taken the bull by the horns, and I can't honestly say I always did it right,
Yes.
I just did it out of pure desperation and survival.
Yes.
Okay. You just out of survival. You got a budget of tens of thousands of dollars. People are leaving at the last minute. Your health is being attacked. You've got people attacking the message. Suddenly, in that moment, everybody who hates you wants to have a say. You're getting pushback from your inner team. Does this sound familiar to any of y'all out there? Yeah, it's not just you. And these are not signs to give up. These are signs to war. These are
And,
signs to pull every weapon you have and to use it and to get through to the other side.
and we must know that part of the apostles' assignment is warfare. If I look back over my life, not even knowing that I was born to be an apostle, that my whole life has basically been warfare, near-death experiences, almost drowned to death as a kid, came out the wrong way when I was born, went through sexual molestation, trying to silence my voice, got into the homosexual lifestyle. All of these things tried to stop me. Just betrayals after betrayals and all of the things that are trying to derail me. And there are two things, apostles, that you need to understand. There are two spirits that will try to come after you when God has called you to steward a work, and that is sabotage and distractions. And sabotage is the deliberate attempt to damage, to destroy, or hinder a cause or activity, a deliberate action aimed at weakening an enemy through subversion, obstruction, disruption, and destruction. And distractions. It is the divided attention of an individual or group from the chosen object attention onto the source of distraction. Distraction is caused by the lack of ability to pay attention, lack of interest in the object of attention, or the great intensity or attractiveness of something other than the object of attention. And so distractions come also from both each external and internal sources. And so these spirits are sent to distract, derail, frustrate you, and what God has called for us to do. So sabotage, distraction. And I come from the book because I taught a message on this, the distractions of building. And this is actually coming from the book of Nehemiah, when Nehemiah was sent back to Israel to rebuild the walls. There were some people that did not like Nehemiah coming back to rebuild what was torn down. That was Sanballat and his friends. And so there are people that will try to distract you and sabotage you as well. And so it matters the company that you keep. It matters that you have intercessors surrounding you, apostles, that can pray you through the work that God has assigned for you to do. And you will have times where you will question. Even Moses questioned God. He was like, I don't speak well. I stutter. I don't know how to do this. We'll try to find all types of opportunity to disqualify ourselves. But God has still called you at the same time. So keep moving.
Keep moving. Pick up your sword.
Yes.
Pick up your sword again.
Yes.
Those sabotages, they come from those closest to you.
Yeah.
More often than not. And they seek to strip you of your confidence
Yes.
and to say, are you really called?
Yeah.
What kind of prophet are you? What kind of apostle are you? They come like Jesus' brothers. Hey, you should go up to Jerusalem. Come on, go show everybody who you are. My time has not yet come.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. And it's meant to make you question yourself and your calling.
Yeah.
And the minute you do that, you stop building. I love that you said, especially for Nehemiah, you stop building the minute you receive that into your heart. And by the way, did you hear what the man of God said? Watch the company you keep.
Yeah.
Because in those moments, for myself, when I faced those attacks, and we're all human, and if there's any unhealed trauma, if there is any insecurity whatsoever, I promise you the devil knows it.
Yeah.
And he's going to sabotage and pick at those particular points. And that's why I need to be very careful about the company I keep, because when those attacks come, are they going to remind me of who God says I am, or who my inner broken child says I am?
Yes.
And I need warriors around me that see me through the eyes of Christ. This reminds me of the podcast I did with Apostle Brandon, and he was speaking about that, about being with people that see you through the eyes of the Spirit, that
Yes.
see Christ in you,
Yes.
that can pull you up and connect with you in that way. And
Yes.
so, who are you surrounding yourself with, guys? I think sometimes some of our warfare is self-inflicted just because of the circles we step into.
Can I say this too? Sabotage can also come from people with good intentions that really love you.
Ooh,
And they
Apostle.
want the best for you. And
Ouch.
I have a story in the Bible, Matthew chapter 16, verses 21 through 23, where Peter told Jesus, God forbid, you're going to die. And
Oh, yeah.
Jesus told Peter, he said, Satan, get behind me. You don't
Ooh.
have the mind of the things of God. And so
Mm.
there can be people around you that really love you, but they don't have the mission and the will of God for your life. And so Jesus rebuked the spirit that was behind Peter's words. And so again, watch the company you keep. There can be people around you that can actually sabotage you, that love you because they want the best for you. And they can help you abort your mission. Well, maybe it's not God, and maybe it's somebody that really, it could even be a spouse, your kids, it could be someone that really is looking out for you, but they were not invited to the boardroom with God's decision about your call.
Oh, I felt that. That landed so hard. I just felt that in the spirit, like the shockwave. There's people. I even feel in the spirit this weight. As
Yeah.
those of you who are listening to us, it's like we're unwrapping the experiences one by one that you've been going through in the last while, and I feel the weight of what you've been under, and the guilt, and some shame, and all the self doubt, and we're slowly pulling it apart. And we're reminding you who you are. Pick up your sword, Apostle. You were called to pioneer. You were
Yeah.
called to break through. I'm just looking, Apostle T.G, just even at our experience and our journey with Up and Out last year, and now what God's doing this year. Last year was a seed that went into the ground and died because you sweated blood, sweat, and tears. You had to die. You
Mhm.
you for sure had to die
Yeah.
to your ideas,
Mhm.
your vision.
Yeah.
And I mean, even physically under attack, you had to come to such a death to be able to have that conference last year, which
Mhm.
tells me that this year is the resurrection.
Yes.
That which died this year is going to reap a harvest. And
Yes.
I just feel the Holy Spirit all over that. It's like every price you paid because you were willing to push through in the hard territory.
Yes.
When you push through to do the hard thing, you're going to see your reward in this particular conference. There's something about what God wants to do. And even now, I see water coming up from the ground, from unexpected places, unexpected sources, to water the work that you're doing. But I
I-
find it interesting that God had to take you out of your territory for a little bit
mhm.
to give you perspective for your territory. Do you want to speak a little bit into that?
Well, you know, the only thing I can think about is that Jesus said, I'm doing now a series, I'm reteaching an old series that I taught in 2018 called Unlocking Honor. And in the book of Matthew, I believe, Jesus was not received from his own hometown. They said, isn't this Joseph's boy? Isn't this Mary's boy? Aren't his brothers and sisters among us? Who do he think he is? And so the Bible says he could do very little miracles in his hometown because of dishonor. And sometimes God will take you from your place, take you to a new place where you are well received, and it will cause the people from your hometown to take notice of you. Think about this. When the three Magi's came to Jerusalem and they said, we've come to see the Christ child. Herod said, well, who is this Christ child? Okay, so some outsiders came to the place where people inside did not recognize Jesus. When outsiders start coming into your hometown, recognizing who you are, that
So
is a sign right there. I hope I'm making sense.
Oh, you are making complete sense. Because the validation is not from man, but from God.
From God.
The validation is from God. And it's from God when that exact same thing happened. I remember having that exact same experience. You're in an environment where everybody around you is kind of like, well, they become so familiar with you that, oh, well, who do you think you are? And then God sent people from the outside to start speaking into my life, to start saying things about me. And oh man, I remember it shifted the whole atmosphere of the room.
Yeah.
And they kind of look at you a different way. And we don't ask for those moments, but it's the hand of God. And when you are willing to plow through, when you're willing to do the hard thing, to pick up your sword and fight, I promise you, that will be your confirmation.
Yeah.
We want those that are the closest to us to give us that confirmation and that affirmation.
Yes.
But more often than not, he's going to send people from in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they didn't know Jesus. They didn't know his family. They weren't even in the culture. At least the shepherds were familiar with the culture. They were from the Middle East.
Yeah.
Coming now to acknowledge the king. And that's what God will do, though. He'll even send people outside of your stream.
Yes.
Outside of your stream to validate you.
Yeah.
When we don't seek that validation and we just pick up our sword and fight and pioneer, regardless of what anybody says, because God told us to, he will reward you and he will validate you his way.
His way.
His way. I've had, I know this sounds weird. I know somebody probably going to burn me for this, but I've had Catholic priests validate my ministry.
Wow.
Something happened to me while I was praying. I got spirit filled. And then there's these prophecies and I went online and I found you and you helped me. And now, and everybody else is looking at me like, wow. I mean, but God decides how to prove my ministry, right?
That's right.
I don't need to try to prove myself.
Yeah. And so can we go back just a little bit to Nehemiah? There are some things that I want to point out to you, you emerging apostles and you apostles that are seasoned that may be discouraged. When you look at Nehemiah, look at Nehemiah chapter 2 and verse 12, Nehemiah told no one his plan. What does that mean? Sometimes God, when he gives you something, it is best not to say anything until it materializes. Sometimes you have to keep it silent because when you start speaking it, heaven and hell hears it. And so when he shows you something or gives you something, be quiet until the appointed time. Verse 13, it says, he went out at night to survey. Sometimes you have to do things under the radar. Stop posting. Stop telling everybody what the Lord has said or what you are doing. You hear that? Verse 16, he didn't say anything until he had a plan. Nehemiah didn't say anything until he had a plan. Verse 17, Nehemiah told them the plan at the right time and the plan and what it would take to make this thing happen. Nehemiah also understood that the hand of God was upon him and that he had favor. And you have to understand that favor does attract warfare. The word for the year for our house, the Way Fellowship Church of Dallas, is Rehoboth. And I preached on Rehoboth before the year started. I actually preached it in December. God said, release it now because this is where we're going. Isaac moved from Esek, from Sitnah, which means contention and strife, to Rehoboth. And so there are seasons where you will have strife, envy, all types of warfare. But then there is a season as we keep pressing. The thing that Isaac kept doing, he kept digging. He didn't stop digging for wells just because he had oppositions. What am I saying? Keep digging. Keep moving, because as you move, there will come a time, there will come a season where you will step into Rehoboth, which is God making space, making room for you, and nobody can stop that.
That is so powerful. You know, the word for our ministry that God gave us, Apostle, was it was the season to do warfare through building.
My God.
The time had come for the Israelites where they had defeated the enemy on their land,
Mhm.
but they could only fully possess it when they built upon it. And so a time of peace had to come
Yes.
so that they could build. And I find that incredible how aligned these two words are, because I don't think it's just a message for your ministry
Yeah.
or our ministry. I think it's an apostolic message for
Mhm.
where God is taking kingdom next.
Yeah.
Until we begin to build and establish what he's given us, we're
Yeah.
not going to see the church rise up. We've had plenty tearing down.
Mhm.
We have fought every horde from hell. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the warfare is over, but I am still saying that the kind of warfare that we're about to do in this dispensation is about to shift. The kind of warfare that we're going to do isn't mudslinging warfare. It's going to be the kind of warfare where you build, you establish, and God prospers and blesses you in the land that he has promised you, because that is the ultimate warfare.
Hallelujah.
When we possess what God has promised us,
Yes.
how else do we get the devil off our land? We own it.
Yes. Yes.
When it's ours, when it's under contract to me and no longer under contract to him, I win the war.
Yes.
And so this is why you have to fight through. And I love that you use Nehemiah, because isn't that what he was doing? He was securing his territory.
Mhm.
Guys, don't you realize that while you're trying to secure your territory, while you're trying to pioneer, you're going to get the mudslinging, you're going to get the name calling, you're going to get the warfare, the people with the good intentions leading you in the wrong way. All of these things are going to come to you, but you don't understand that once the wall is built, once it's established, you create a safe place to begin to flourish and grow and to build your part of the kingdom. And guess what? I hope that by listening to this, you recognize that you're not alone in your process.
Not alone.
Guys, we're all going through. And Apostle, I really got to thank you for just being so real, for not being afraid to share about what we really face as leaders. You know, a lot of people, they look at you on the podium and we can seem so confident in what God's given us because we've been through so much fire. But you know, the attacks you face, we face too.
Yeah.
It's just the difference is we didn't quit fighting.
Yeah.
We pushed through to the other side. That's the
I want you emerging apostles and you apostles that are discouraged. I want you to know, I want you to remember these words like Nehemiah. When you feel discouraged and everything is coming to you, Nehemiah said, I'm doing a good work when I can't come down. Because if you come down, you lose. But if you keep working, you will win. And the strength and the grace of God comes upon you to help push you through this. I think about this other analogy. I used it Sunday. In school, we used to plant a bean. We had a styrofoam cup, and we put our dirt in it, and then we put our bean in there, and we put dirt on top of it, and we water it, and we set it in the windowsill so it would have sun, and we would water it. And think of your work or yourself as this bean. When the bean starts sprouting, first it goes down. It has to push through all of the dirt. The dirt is a fertilizer. So all of the stuff that you're going through, all of the warfare is just fertilizer to help fertilize that seed that God has put in you. And so once it establishes a root system, then it has to push up through that dirt. It pushes up. It may not feel like it. It may not seem like you can't see anything, but just know God is working underneath the ground. That seed finally pushes through the dirt. and then it begins to grow. So right now, it may feel a little dirty. It may feel like nothing is happening, but something is happening underground. First, he has to establish his root system inside of you before you can go upward. And so, although you're surrounded by all of this dirt, keep watering. What is the water? The word. People pouring into you, people giving you words of wisdom, words of knowledge, pouring inside of you, and you keep growing. Yes, it may not feel like things are happening, but it is happening in the realm of the spirit. You don't see the bean, hallelujah, but you know if I keep watering this bean and keep the sunlight, come on here, on this bean, it is going to grow. It is going to grow. So it takes time. It takes time. Push through. Don't get discouraged. It is easy to get discouraged. As I said earlier, it matters who is around you. So when those times of discouragement does come, they know how to say, you're more than a conqueror. You're more than a conqueror. You are the head, not the tail. You are above and not beneath. God has called you for such a time as this. Psalms 102:13. Yea, this is the set time for God to favor you. Come on here. You need people that's going to put that word. They are watering the seed inside of you so that it can come forth and up and out.
Come on. I'm doing a good work.
Doing a good work.
I cannot come down.
Cannot come down.
I cannot come down. You cannot come down. Your good work plows for the next generation. And Apostle, I cannot wait for Up and Out this year in Dallas. Guys, I hope you're going to join us.
Yes.
Come and join us. The link's right there in the notes below. Come and sign up. Grab your seat before they're all taken, please. And come up. You know what? If you signed up because of this podcast, you better let me know. You better let me know, get me on Facebook, send me a message because I want to say hello when we get there. But I'm coming with great expectation, Apostle.
It's going to
My
be
faith
great.
is riding very, very high for this.
Yeah.
Last time a seed went into the ground and died.
Yes.
And it had to push through and push up.
Yes.
But now we're stepping into a harvest.
Yes.
And if you're ready for a greater breakthrough than you've ever experienced in your life, then I do encourage you to get there. You've got an incredible mix of speakers from such diversity. I think that for your conference, without sounding too boastful, has probably the most diversity in grace and in character than I've seen in any other conference. Truly, Apostle.
Yes.
And each one brings something so different.
Yes.
That I know that things are going to break off for you and you're going to see that harvest. Apostlesdigest.com. Guys, if you're not subscribed or upgraded, go do that now. Thank you, Apostle T.G, for investing so much into my audience. Apostles, we want to see you grow. We got your back.
Yes.
You're doing a good work. You cannot come down.
Don't come.
See y'all next week.
Congratulations in taking time to invest into your call. Now let's stay connected. Visit apostolic-network.com to message Colette and me and link arms with others in your apostolic journey.